Hi guys, in this video we're going to be taking another look at 𝗲𝗪1 and specifically to see what has been going on both that short-term and long-term views for the price action of the one token. Guys, as we get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, do go ahead and hit that like button. I really do appreciate it. If you're new, make sure you're subscribed. By subscribing, you'll be kept up to date with everything that we do here. Hit the bell, tap on all, and you won't miss a single video. And guys, we're pleased to say that this video has been sponsored by 𝗲𝗪𝗀𝗀. Okay guys, let's get into what is going on here for 𝗲𝗪1. So obviously here we have 𝗲𝗪1 to the USDT, the weekly chart, and Binance is the data source. Now obviously on this chart we can see that we have seen a significant rise in value over the past few months for 𝗲𝗪, and it's actually started off back down in March of 2020 where we saw the significant rise up into the first wave before the pullback of wave 2 going into wave 3. Now this actually took an entire year to go from March to March, from the low of wave 1 up to the high of wave 3. And if you were in super early into 𝗲𝗪1, you've already seen 18,943%. With that being said, we obviously have endured the fourth wave now, and it seems to have found a pretty good bottom, but there is a buy zone down here if we were to have a pullback. And again, we are following Bitcoin in a roundabout way, so potentially on the cards, and the future horizon is a potential dip down. It's possible, it's not ruled out just yet, that Bitcoin could potentially pull back down towards that kind of 24 to 28k range. If that happens, that would put 𝗲𝗪1 right back into the buy zone, where I would intend to buy up a significant portion of 𝗲𝗪1 before we kick off into wave 5. I do feel that we're going to basically see the worst, or have seen the worst of Bitcoin's correction. If, however, we are likely to have another pullback down to those lower bounds, then ultimately we'll have an opportunity to accumulate a few more things, a few more altcoins, and specifically one 𝗲𝗪 in this example. And after that, after this kind of the worst point of July is out of the way, we should be going into a pretty good bullish sentiment for the rest of the year, going towards the parabolic runs for these altcoins. And obviously 𝗲𝗪1 has a pretty good target up here of around $1 level or so. So I'm going to get into what that looks like on the daily chart. So first thing I'm going to do is just pull down into a daily and just expand this up. So when we have this loaded up, we can see that we have the Fibonacci retracement tool on here. And this actually, again, goes from that high point up there to the low point that we've had recently, and the low point for Bitcoin, pulling 𝗲𝗪1 down into this buy zone. So this buy zone actually kickstarts anything kind of lower than 5.6 cent. And I think this has a potential to drop down to as maximum kind of low of about 4.3. Currently, we've enjoyed a 4.6 kind of accumulation zone here for 𝗲𝗪1. So we have this area just here. So this is the area where I would be, pretty happy to be buying a significant portion of 𝗲𝗪. Now, obviously, we are looking to continue this rise to the upside. We're finding a bit of resistance right up here at the moment, around 7 cent. But we're going to be really talking about what's going on in this upper band right now. So for us, we are talking about, potentially 80 cent is the extension level on the current position of this Fibonacci. And again, if we were to actually go down a little bit lower to pull towards the lower end of this particular accumulation area, we could see us rise a little bit higher than 80 cent. Now, I think the $1 range is that kind of psychological barrier. I think that's going to be the true maximum. However, the potential of 𝗲𝗪 should surpass this longer term. So if you're thinking long term, then ultimately this $1 range would be, very insignificant, because the longer term play for 𝗲𝗪 would see vastly higher significant price discovery. So for this particular run in the second half of this year, we're at some interesting areas around 80 cent, maybe push that dollar range. And again, we would be looking to basically sell on the way up, not waiting for a peak to come in and try to sell the entire bag at the top, and then accumulate during the bear market as we go into the next kind of dormant phase of the crypto space. Now, On this daily chart, there's a few things that are worth kind of talking about as well. We obviously have a pretty decent relative strength index at about 49, and we are starting to see a bit of a rise in value just here. Now, we'll have a look at that on the hourly in a moment, but again, we are looking at some interesting resistance areas. As I said, we were about 7.1 is the kind of real resistance at the moment. Pushing on past this, we go up to about 7.9. 7.9 is an area that was of interest to us, and after that, we go to 9.1. And again, we have this area just up here, which comes in at about 10.5, and we want a closed candle above 12.6. A closed candle, preferably a weekly closed candle above 12.6, would be a very strong signal to say that we're going into wave 5. Anything below this could potentially mean that we're still a bit more of a downward trend to come. So getting a closed candle above this area is absolutely key for Harmony. So let's go ahead and pull this down into our hourly. Okay, and on here we can see that significant rise that we've just started to see, and ultimately what we're looking for here is to see how long this is likely to continue. So right now at 7.1, we can obviously see that we've gone past some of these upper areas of resistance already, but we are now challenging this area just here. So this previous area of what was a support line turned into resistance is where we're trying to push the way through. Now, ultimately, when we zoom on in here, what we can see is not only just the candles moving to the upside, but we also can see that we have utilized a lot of our relative strength index. We started to move this needle quite high. So we're actually just below the overbought area of 66. Okay, so it won't take too much more, and we'll be right up in this upper area here where we'll be expecting a pullback. So it's going to be absolutely key that we get a little bit of a push here before going to finding good support on a good key level. So getting past this area of 7.1 could be problematic, but let's go ahead and just check out what the volumes are doing. So here we can see that significant run that's been had is basically been some serious volume that's been purchased. Other than that, we are starting to see a bit of a decline in the volume. We obviously see there was some selling pressure in here as well as this one big mammoth candle or mammoth amount of volume coming in to push the price right up here. But we are starting to see this decrease in volume. So ultimately that volume decreasing is going to basically mean we're running out of steam. This means that we're not likely to push too far up into the overbought area. Instead, we're going to see a reversal. The key here is to keep that volume steady whilst we have the pullback. If there's an increase of volume, and specifically selling volume, whilst we're pulling that relative strength index down, we could lose a lot of this momentum that we've currently had. So some key moments here are going to be really key for Harmony to kind of stay above some key levels. So for us, we're going to be looking at some interesting zones. We're going to be looking at trying to keep above 6.8 cent. And 7 cent. Those are going to be the key areas for us to kind of watch out for and to kind of monitor, dropping down to some of these maybe lower areas around 6.7 or so like that. So I think there's going to be an interesting area just around here. Again, 6.7 is an interesting area of resistance support that we've seen in the past. So if this does continue to hold for us, a back test to this area here before pushing on up to the upside is something that we could also see. It'd be quite disappointing to see all of this significant run just here get wasted, but we were hoping for that sentiment to change. So in order for us to kind of understand what's going on there, we'll just jump over to advice.io, and here we can see the fear and greed index is at a C3. So again, there's a lot of fear here for Harmony at the moment. Again, liquidity issues, which shouldn't be as too much of a surprise considering all the stuff that's been going on with the Harmony protocol, with Binance and all those other exchanges as well. So liquidity problems, a fair amount of fear in the space. Obviously risk to rewards. I think ultimately we could be in for an interesting pullback. So what we're looking for ultimately is to try to find the 6.7 cent as our support line so that we can lower our relative strength index, lower our volumes, and get everything ready for that next motion to the upside. So for Harmony right now, we obviously have some interesting lower end targets here. The interesting thing that we got to prepare ourselves for is a potential pullback down to our 6.7. And if that happens, then we should potentially hopefully see a good bounce to the upside from there, where we might actually start to address some of these higher areas, such as 7.9 cent. Getting above 7.9 could see 9.1 on the close horizon as well. So let's go ahead and just pull this back up into our daily and just reiterate what we've seen here. I still anticipate that there is an opportunity to come back into this buy zone, although that does seem to be dwindling past us with every passing day. So the longer that we stay out of this area, the less likely it is that we'll come back into this area, and that is because we have this upward trend line just here, and this is something that's been tracking since the very early stages of the bull run back in phase 1. So for us right now, ultimately, I would like to see another attempt at this accumulation zone, but only if Bitcoin has a major pullback should we actually see this. Otherwise, I think we're going to be on track to kind of find good support down here. and hopefully get this push to the 7.9 cent and see this recovery. Again, we're looking at 12.6 cent or about 12.6 cent. A closed candle above that area will be us moving into that fifth wave in a real comfortable manner. So guys, I will keep this brief, but obviously I want to kind of just leave you on that positive note of where I see us moving in the case of Harmony. On this weekly chart, fifth wave heading up towards that 80 cent area with an idealistic kind of $1 range. We obviously have a decrease in volume over time on this weekly chart. We obviously have a really nice low relative strength index at 48. And for contrast, guys, this is where we were when we were bottomed out on phase 2. We were right down here at 44. There is not too much further to go before our relative strength index has fallen down right to the low point that we were back in with phase 2. That shows us a true bottoming area here for phase 4 going into phase 5. So I think the correction is coming to a close. The next few weeks are going to be absolutely crucial, but I do think that's going to be the worst over once we are past July and into August. Guys, if you found this useful and informative, definitely do go ahead and give me a like. I really appreciate that. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell, tap on all notifications, and you won't miss a single video. Guys, with that said, done out of the way, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.